And I think this is important for us to define when people think that they're using breath to contract a muscle other than the diaphragm, versus using breath to possibly relax a muscle. So a lot of times when we saw, and I'm going to drill you a little bit about this one because I think we really need to break this myth apart. But the idea of that incontinence is always a weakness of the pelvic floor, and that's just not true. And so we had found a couple, and I don't know if you remember the stats on this. The last study we did was 45 female Pilates teachers, and we looked at those three areas. And we always have a 45%, no matter what country, no matter where we go. We've over 250 subjects that when people are trying to do an active Kegel or their imagery of a volitional activation pelvic floor, about 45% either do not activate the floor or push it down. So using other muscles than what they thought, or you'd see you might see the glutes kick in out in front through the ultrasound. We could see the glutes squeezing underneath the pelvic floor. But, and then we were at 95% had normal elastic displacement with breath. So I don't want people to think that, the breath was being used to create a contraction. Quite the opposite. The deep diaphragmatic breath, we would expect to see diaphragm drop down, hydraulic amplifier model that you're talking about from Norris, and pelvic floor drop down as well. There's no reason for the intra-abdominal pressure to go up. It's just maintaining normal status quo intra-abdominal pressure while we're doing whatever, and breath always changes intra-abdominal pressure if it's coming from the diaphragm. So to maintain normal, there's going to be this simple ebb and flow. But it was interesting that the two individuals that were unable to do the volitional contraction did not have displacement with breath and did not have a spontaneous reaction with sit to stand were women who were holding their abdominal walls in all the time. It was as if they had their own contraction. They were in their 20s, never had children, and they both said that they had problems with stress incontinence. Yeah. So it's very interesting. And I'd love to have your thoughts on just that, just hearing the stats. Like, how does that resonate with you or not resonate with you, and what you know and what you see every day with women who are dealing with pathology?
Yeah, I think that sample of patients and your discussion of them just now really sums up what we see in the general population coming into practice here. So we can have patients that have very strong abdominals, and it's almost like they've blown out the bottom of their soda can. So they've had prolapse, they have weakness maybe at the pelvic floor, or conversely, they have hypertonicity. It's so locked and loaded. There's no displacement even on simple inhalation. So that's a pathology we see all the time. And I think people forget that there is this ebb and flow between the two diaphragms, and that's really important because you're just managing that intra-abdominal pressure, and you can't generate stuff by holding breath, by pushing through it. That's not going to elicit pelvic floor, as we know. So we want, that's why I almost say it's better not to cue someone than to cue them sometimes, because then you're going to let the body do what it naturally knows how to do.